Hello and welcome to Narayana IS. I'm Pratik, your faculty for daily news analysis. Students, in today's DNA, we are going to discuss 5 most important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. These topics will give insights into the important topics for the UPSC CEC examination. I request you to please be mindful when you hear and understand these 5 topics. My responsibility is to ensure that you understand all the 5 topics. So have a pen and paper to jot down the running notes. Of course, we'll be providing you with the DNA notes for your revision, but having running notes helps you to take down notes. It also helps you in writing practice, right? So on this note, let us start with today's DNA, and let us start today's DNA with a quote, motivation quote. Success is hidden in your daily routine. Wow, what a quote. It essentially highlights the importance of being consistent in your UPSC preparation. UPSC is a marathon race. It's not something that you clear preparing for just a month or two. It takes months of preparation, years of preparation to succeed in the UPSC examination. That's the reason being or staying consistent is very important. Staying consistent, that is, you need to have your daily targets, weekly targets, monthly targets, and every day you need to ensure that the plan that you have set for yourself should be completed by the end of the day. Simply ask your heart before going to bed. Simply ask your heart if you have given everything that is required to clear the examination. Your heart will never give fake answers, false answers. So make sure that you're consistent with your daily preparation, and just be confident. The more you stay confident, it will help you in your confidence, and confidence is the most important ingredient for the UPSC CSE examination, to clear the examination. So now, in order to ease your efforts, what we have come up with is a 110 days self-study planner. Right now, prelims is approaching. You would never know how the time flies, and the examination will be just knocking your doors. So to ease your efforts to stay consistent, we have come up with a 110 days planner. It will help you to navigate through the different subjects and topics under the subjects. If you want to avail the study plan, I request you to please download the application from the scan given on your screen. Download the application, you'll see 110 days planner. Follow the planner. Trust me, no one can stop you from clearing the prelims examination. Once you clear the prelims examination, we'll come up with a similar planner for your means examination. So, and then again, for all those students who want to start from the scratch, who are into graduation, and want to appear for the examination, we we have come up with 1 year and 2 year integrated course, right? So the QR code that you get to see on your screen, scan the code, you'll get to know the details of the plan, 1 year and 2 year plan, and then accordingly you can ask questions. Once you register, our team will get back to you. Any question that you have, our team will be there to assist you till the last moment until you clear your UPSC examination. So these are the details of the plan, all right? So you can simply go through it and understand. So which are the 5 topics? First topic talks about the impact of digital technology and education. We see the rise in digital education or technology, but unfortunately the learning outcomes is not in proportion to the rise in digital technology. Why is it that the people from marginalized section still lack access to quality education? These are the points that we'll discuss in the first topic. Second topic talks about the private bill. What is a private bill? The instances the private bills got passed in the parliament, importance of private bills. Third article talks about the implication of repo rate cut. So we'll understand what is repo rate and the implication of repo rate cut. Fourth article talks about the TROPEX exercise. The importance of this exercise to ensure maritime security and stability. And the fifth article talks about the Dunki route. I hope you must have seen Shah Rukh Khan's movie Dunki, right? So this movie highlights the difficult journey the Indians take to reach the developed countries to seek better lifestyles. So these are the 5 topics of the day. The sixth topic, again, we have covered that in the past. So the link will be provided in the comment section. To understand the sixth topic, please open the DNA video, DNA notes, and you can revise the topic that we already had taken. So let us start with the first topic. The impact of digital education or technology on education, important for GS2 under governance. So a question was asked on digital illiteracy in the rural areas coupled with lack of ICT. So no access to digital technology. Why? Because of infrastructure challenges, internet connectivity, electricity. This hinders, this stops the social and economic development. You have to examine with justification. So questions are asked of this nature, so it is important to understand these topics in detail. So what is the context? The context is that this topic highlights or examines the impact of digital education or digital technology on education. So while the smartphone penetration has increased, more and more people have smartphones with them, but the learning outcomes, the quality of education, that is the learning outcome, is not growing in proportion to increase in smartphone penetration. And what are the challenges? Infrastructure challenges, right? There is no infrastructure. Then lack of structured digital education strategy. Now, if education has to be dealt through digital technology or passed on through digital technology, there has to be a strategy. But unfortunately, our country seems to lack strategy with respect to digital education. And then the dominance of companies that are into digital education, profit driven. So these are the challenges. So in order to overcome, that is, in order to ensure that the digital education, digital technology is helping the students at the lower rung, the marginalized communities, it is important that we come up with a well-defined roadmap to ensure our country harnesses technology to ensure that it reaches the lowest rung of the society, helps the marginalized community, right? So this is the context. Now, first of all, we'll understand the evolution of technology in education. Now, in the 90s and 2000s, the Indian government came up with many educational initiatives like the Sarva Shiksha, Sarva, education to all, midday meal scheme, and the Right to Education Act. Now, because of these schemes, the enrollment increased in schools. More and more students started getting enrolled in the schools. But the ASER report, this report shows that the number of students have increased, but the students are not learning significantly. So if number of students are increased, the learning outcome should also increase to the proportion. But it seems that the students are only coming to eat food, under the midday meal scheme, or just they have enrolled but they do not attend the schools regularly. Why? Because they have responsibilities, they have to help the families. Now in the early 2000s we saw the coming of computers and schools, computers and mobile phones. Now this promised transformation in the educational landscape, but the problem is because of high cost involved, the poor internet connectivity and lack of awareness. High cost, right? To computers, no one can, like in the 2000s people could not afford computers, there was no electricity, no internet connectivity, lack of awareness. This limited the digital penetration. This actually stopped people from accessing computers and mobile phones, right? Especially in the rural areas. So then came COVID, and because of COVID, people started adopting digital education. The schools started running online digital education. The government in the lockdown came up with PM E-Vidya scheme, Diksha, Swayam Prabha, TV channel. These initiatives were launched by the government to what? To support digital learning, which means people who are poor, students who are poor, students who live in the rural areas can access education, can afford education. Which education? Digital education. But the challenge was, what are the people who do not have computers or mobile phones? Go and go to the rural areas, go to the most underdeveloped areas of the country. People do not have homes. From where would they have computers or mobile phones? So the pandemic highlighted the gap between urban areas and the rural areas, especially the difficulties faced by the students in the rural areas in accessing digital education. The poor people, the people, students in the rural areas do not have, cannot afford as well as cannot access digital education despite the schemes launched by the government. Why? No mobile phones, poor internet connectivity. Go to the rural areas, check the internet connectivity. Either you have to go to the terrace or somewhere very far away. And then again, the people are not that interested. I mean, this low digital literacy in our country, though it is gradually improving. But if I talk about the rural areas, the digital literacy is low. I mean, just using mobile phones to call and message is not going to help. Even if you ask your parents do not know to operate computer beyond sending WhatsApp messages, calling someone, or watching a video. Ask your parents if they have ever used smartphones productively. The answer is no. Forget parents, ask yourself to what extent you have used your mobile phones for self improvement. You'll get the answer. So now, according to the ASR report 2024, 84% of the rural households have smartphones now. They have smartphones. This, the number in 18 was 36%. Now it is 84%. So the proportion of children aged 14 to 16 who owns a smartphone increased to 31% in just 1 year, which means now the fact is that the students in the rural areas have smartphones. Majority of them have smartphones. Now it is for the government to see how they can leverage this opportunity to ensure that quality education is disseminated, given to each and every student. Increased smartphone penetration in rural areas. Now, whether the mothers, do the mothers in the rural areas have smartphone? The number, we do not have a fixed number. Now, why are we discussing whether mothers should have a smartphone? Because having mobile phone with the mothers is directly proportional to the children's learning outcomes, which means if a mother is educated, the child automatically becomes automatic in the sense the mother trains her child. If the mother is not educated, there is no question, there is no possibility of educating the child. That's the reason having a smartphone with mothers is very important, because that is directly proportional with the children's learning outcome. Then the government of India again has come up with schemes like the Digital India, BharatNet, PM Vani. They have improved rural digital infrastructure as compared to, let's say, the pandemic times. Now the digital infrastructure has improved. However, despite infrastructure going notches up, affordability, high speed internet remains inconsistent. Affordability, because let's say for example, if someone has to buy a subscription from an edtech company, these subscriptions are not affordable. It is expensive. So for someone living in a rural area, 20 and 30,000 is also expensive. Maybe a child, a student in the urban area may not find that amount expensive, but a student in the rural area may find it expensive. This is a challenge. Now, the promise of digital revolution for education. The greatest potential of digital learning lies in open and continuing education. This is the greatest potential of digital learning, open and continuous education. And this is very, very important, especially for the marginalized sections such as mothers, dropouts, the ones who dropped out, and the adult learners. Now, the National Education Policy of 2020, very, very important document that seeks to transform the educational level of our country, right? Now, this policy recognizes the role of technology in disseminating, in providing quality education, That's the reason the government has come up with National Education Technology Forum. Why? To facilitate, to make possible digital learning. Now, now the government initiatives like the Diksha stands for Digital Infrastructure for Knowledge Sharing. It provides free educational resources. However, their impact is limited due to lack of awareness and uneven accessibility. Right? So, we can learn from international models. For example, Bangladesh 10-minute school delivers digital lessons via social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook. There's something that we can learn. Kenya's eLimu has developed interactive, that is interaction, mobile-based learning resources for underserved communities. So we can learn from examples such as Bangladesh and Kenya's eLimu. These are the examples that you are expected to mention in the examination. This will help you get good marks. So always try to mention examples. Now let us try to understand the challenges. We understood, the potential of digital technology, the initiatives, the schemes launched by the government of India, right? But however, challenges persist. Which challenges? For example, while smartphone ownership has increased, students do have smartphones. This electricity problem, which we already have discussed, electricity problem, weak internet connectivity, and lack of digital literacy. As I told you, literacy is not only about knowing how to call someone or send a simple message. No, you have to maximize the potential of a smartphone to ensure that it helps in your growth. High cost of quality digital content. right? So high cost, high quality. If you have to, buy the subscription, then it's very very expensive, right? So the as the cost involved is very very high, the affordability remains a question. Now, of course, many students opt for private education, right? Many students are buying the subscriptions of the prominent edtech companies, Narayana being one of them. So again, the question is that the amount which is affordable in the urban centers is not affordable in the rural areas. So this is another problem. Paid subscription. Then gap in teacher training for, the problem is in the rural areas, the teachers, they themselves do not know how to leverage smartphones or technology. That's the reason the government has come up with national initiatives for school heads and teachers holistic advancement, Nishtha. What is the objective? Objective is to improve digital literacy among the educators, that is teachers. However, the teachers lack adequate training. The teachers do not know how to integrate, how to use mobile phones with classrooms, into classrooms. So how do we use technology into classrooms? Integration. The teachers do not know. This is a problem. And then the profit driven edtech companies, of course they will not provide the education free of cost, because they are running a business, they need money, right? So uh, the cost involved with this subscription is another problem for the students in the rural areas, especially from the economically weaker section of the society. Now, how do we address this disparity, this gap? Of course, leverage the potential of artificial intelligence. Now, the problem is, even if the education or the lessons are available, they're available in English. Can you expect a student from a rural area to understand English? No. So what AI can do is, AI can convert that English language into the regional language. Now this will raise curiosity and interest of the students in rural areas to learn, to understand and excel in education, so that they can change the fortune of their families. So first is AI and language accessibility. So we have tools such as Google, Bolo and Microsoft Reading, and now we have even ChatGPT, which can translate into the regional language. Then attendance and engagement. Yes, access to schools has increased, but the attendance is very very poor. It is poor in the urban areas, forget about rural areas. That's the reason we can adopt a hybrid learning model which combines digital and in-person instruction. For example, so there are students in front of me. I have played a lecture on the smart board. The students are watching the lecture. In case a student comes across a problem, I will pause the video, clear the doubt of a student and then proceed. So let's say I am a teacher, I am not available in the classroom. The students are watching the lecture. What if they come across a problem? Now there is no one to solve, and if you do not understand a problem, or let's say if the concept is not clear, there is no point in continuing watching the video, because the concept is a base to understand the uh, the successive content. I getting it. That's the reason this hybrid learning is important, where there is a teacher who can help the students clear the doubts. Then community based learning model. Now, it is important to mention this example of the Maharashtra government's village-based learning programs, where there are community centers, and in the community centers, education, the lessons are given, imparted. right? Then countries such as Estonia and Finland have successfully implemented nationwide digital education policies, ensuring that all the people across all the sections have uniform access to edtech solution, edtech or edtech solution lessons, right? Now, way forward. What is the way forward? Of course, India requires a structured roadmap. There has the policy cannot be haphazard just by launching a computer, mobile phone doesn't work. There has to be a structured strategy wherein you need to first have the infrastructure ready, train the teacher, and then set the digital curriculum. This is how you bridge the digital divide. This is referred to as holistic digital planning. Second, expanding PM e-Vidya for inclusive education. What is PM e-Vidya? It integrates various platforms like radio, television, social media, right? And it needs strong grassroots implementation, which means to make this scheme successful, it is important the community centers in the villages they ensure that the potential of this scheme is utilized to the maximum. Then strengthening public-private partnership. Again, investments has to come in. Unless there are investments, the edtech companies are not going to provide subsidies to the students from the lower socio-economic background. So more and more investments flow in. The cost of, let's say, a course, the cost of digital education comes down. Third solution. Then enhance regional language content. Make sure the content is available in the regional language so that students from the rural areas can access the regional language in vernacular media so that they understand, also have interest in learning further. Then establishing an outcome-based evaluation framework, which means you need to have independent monitoring and assessment mechanism. This monitoring and assessment mechanism will evaluate the effectiveness. So we have a mechanism. This mechanism will ensure, will verify if the government policy is working in the rural areas or not. So this mechanism, this monitoring mechanism will help us to plug the loopholes, to fill the gaps. So this is how we need to proceed. I hope you understood the first chapter. We have covered holistically. Any question, any doubt, I request you to please ask in the comment section. Okay. Let's jump onto the next question, next chapter, next topic, sorry. Private bills seek setting of parliament for 100 days a year. We'll understand about the private bill in this particular article. Again, very, very important for GS paper 2 parliament. So question has been asked on Rajya Sabha, right? Now, two private member bills were introduced in Rajya Sabha. First of all, let us understand what is a bill. Bill is a proposal. For example, let's say anyone who spits on the road, who throws waste on the road should be fined with 10,000 rupees. I want to make this law. What I do is, I need to be a member of the parliament or state legislature. I will propose, that is, I will introduce a bill. A bill is nothing but a proposal for an act, for a decision to be taken. Two bills have been introduced in the Rajya Sabha. What is the purpose of this bill? The two members have stated that the purpose is that the parliament out of 365 days should sit for 100 to 120 days, so as to improve the productivity and accountability. So as of now, parliament does not sit for 100 120 days, it sits for less number of days. The purpose of the bill is to make the parliamentarians sit for 100 to 120 days. This is the purpose of the bill. When the bill gets passed, voted in both the houses, the bill becomes an act, which means now the parliamentarians have to sit for 100 to 120 days out of 365 days. This is the context. We'll understand what is a private member bill first. Private member bill. See, we have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. The elected members sit in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And the political party in the Lok Sabha which has majority forms the government. So now we have the NDA government, National Democratic Alliance government in power in parliament. NDA comprises of BJP, then TDP, Telugu Desam Party by Chandrababu Naidu, right? These are the political parties part of NDA. So anyone who is a private member, or what is a private member bill? Any member of parliament who is not a part of government, who is not a minister, anyone who is a minister, if he introduces a bill, that is not a private member bill, that is a public bill. So even a member of BJP who is not a minister, if he introduces a bill, that is a private member. Rahul Gandhi is a member of opposition, if he introduces, it's a private member. If Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, if they introduce, it is a public member. Shashi Tharoor, member of opposition, if he introduces, it's a private member. So two such members have introduced a bill. What is the purpose? Members of parliament should sit for 100 to 120 days. I hope you understood what is a private member. Now let me just this. Okay, so public bill introduced by a minister, introduced other than a minister, it reflects the policies. Public bill, it reflects the policies of the government. What is the government? What is the objective of the government bill? Mindset of the government. It reflects the stand of the opposition political party, or it reflects the stand of that individual member. Now public bill, it has greater chance to be approved by parliament. Why? Because they have majority in Lok Sabha. They have majority, so they have high chance of passing. It has less chance. Why? Because they do not have majority. For a bill to get passed, you need to have majority. The government has a majority. The chances are high that the public bill gets passed. If the public bill is rejected, which means the government does not enjoy confidence, the government has lost majority. And this, if the private member is rejected, there is no implication as such. Now, to introduce a public member bill, 7-day notice period is to be given. Whom? To the speaker and chairman. Here, 1 month notice. Private member, 1 month notice, 7 days notice. And then, when it comes to public bill, it is drafted by the concerned department. For example, let's say a bill has to be introduced with respect to defense. Then the departments in the defense ministry will draft the bill, and here it is the responsibility of the concerned person to draft the bill. This is the difference. Now the significance of private member bill is that it reflects the ideas of the opposition members. For example, there are many individual independent members in the parliament as well. I hope in the parliament lesson you have learned this chapter. There are many independent people, so it gives a platform for the independent members to express their opinion, to express their objective by introducing a private member bill. Now usually the government refrains from introducing bills which are very, very controversial. For example, let's say reservation. So government does not introduce. Why? Because the government might criticize. So it gives the private member a chance to introduce a private member bill. A private member bill, that is, a private member, if he feels that reservation is not good for the society, can introduce a bill. Now, so as I told you, who drafts? The concerned private member, he drafts, right? And then he gives 1 month notice. So if the bill is being introduced in Lok Sabha, 1 month notice is given to the speaker, Rajya Sabha to the chairman. Procedure, right? So now, of course, the private member bill cannot be discussed on any day. It is discussed during Friday afternoon session. It has got a very limited time. When the bill is introduced, the presiding officer decides whether the bill has to be taken for consideration, whether the objectives of the bill has to be discussed. Who decides? The presiding officer, speaker and chairman. Now the bill can be withdrawn, and if the bill is to be passed, then there is voting. Now of course the private member usually is not a member of the government, so usually the bills do not get passed. Now, historical context. Since independence, only 14 private member bills have been passed. Only 14 member. The first bill, private member, was passed in 1952. Then we have this, right? And the last was in 2014. But the bill that was passed or introduced in 2014 was not passed. Why? Because the Lok Sabha lapsed. Lok Sabha got dissolved. So I hope you understood the second chapter as well. Now let us understand the third chapter. What is the third chapter talking about? That the RBI has cut repo rate. Now, so this is a question asked on the monetary policy. RBI's decision with respect to repo rate is part of the monetary policy. We'll understand what is it. Now, what is the context? RBI has reduced the repo rate. Now, in simple words, we'll understand what exactly is the concept of repo rate. See, as an individual, when I do not have money, I take the money from whom? I take the money from the bank. Similarly, when the banks do not have money, from whom would they take the money? They take the money from the RBI. So let's say I am the individual, and here we have the SBI bank, and here we have the RBI bank. RBI is the bank for all the banks. Now, if I do not have the money, I will borrow the money. I will borrow the money from SBI. Now, when SBI is giving me money, the SBI is not giving for free of cost. The SBI will charge an interest. Let's say RBI is transferring, let's say 1 lakh at 10%, which means when I return this money, I have to transfer 1 lakh plus 10,000 to SBI. Similarly, when RBI transfers money to SBI and SBI is taking money from RBI, the RBI will not give it free of cost. It will charge interest rate. Let's say RBI is taking 100 CR at, let's say, 7% interest. Now, this is referred to as repo rate. This is referred to as repo rate. Now, the RBI has reduced the repo rate from 6.5% to 6.25%. Which means whenever SBI was taking money from RBI, initially it was paying 6.5% interest, but now it has come down to 6.25, which means the RBI has reduced the interest rate, which means now the banks have to pay less interest to the RBI. The banks will have more money. Why? Because the interest they will be paying to RBI will be less. So if the banks are benefiting from RBI, the banks will also pass on the benefit to individuals. For example, I am, let's say, buying a house. I am buying a house for 2 crores, right? And the bank is charging interest rate of, let's say, 8.5 percentage. 8.5 percentage. Now, as the SBI bank is benefiting from RBI, the SBI will pass on the benefit to me. So the interest rate earlier was 8.5 percentage. Now the SBI will reduce the interest rate from 8.5 percentage to, let's say, 8.4 percentage, which means initially I was paying more interest. Now I'm paying less interest, which means I'll have more money. I'll have more money, which means I can spend money or save money or spend money. When the interest rate was 8.5 percentage, let's say as a part of interest I was paying 50 lakhs. Now I'm paying 40 lakhs. I'm saving 10 lakhs. So out of 10 lakhs, I can buy a car. I can buy anything, which means I'm consuming the goods in the country, and this will boost the economy. If people have more money, people will spend. If people are spending, they're consuming more. And they're consuming more, which means the manufacturing sector, it helps manufacturing sector, it helps service sector. This is how economy grows. Yes, there's a chance of inflation. Why? Because more and more money is being spent. But as of now, our country needs more and more consumption. That's the reason the government has also for people who are earning up to 12 lakhs, there'll be no income tax. There'll be no income tax for people who are earning up to 12 lakhs. I hope you have understood the concept of repo rate. Now, what is the monetary policy? Monetary policy is the decision that the central bank, which is the central bank, RBI. So, when the RBI is taking a decision, it is part of monetary policy. And when the government takes a decision, it's a fiscal policy, fiscal and monetary policy. Now, when RBI is taking a decision, it is with respect to money supply in the market, the interest rates and the inflation. So, the central bank, that is RBI's decisions, are with respect to money flow, interest rates and inflation. The primary goal is stabilizing the economy. The primary goal of monetary policy committee is to stabilize the economy, that is to ensure price stability. There is no inflation, high inflation, and promoting sustained gradual economic growth. This is the purpose of monetary policy. Now, few basic things. Monetary policy is a 6-member body important for your prelims. Out of 6, 3 members are from RBI and 3 members are from the government. The MPC was first proposed in the year 2014, right? And an act, RBI Act of 1934, was amended in 16. Why? To bring this MPC in force, in effect. Now, as I told you, what is the objective of MPC? To manage the economic growth, inflation, right? Price stability and economic growth. That is, inflation should be within a range. And what is the range? 2 to 6%. This is a range that the monetary policy has set for themselves. If it is going less than 2% or more than 6%, the RBI will intervene and ensure the inflation is between around 4%, 4% plus and minus 2%. And what is the impact? The impact I have already discussed in the first slide itself. I'll have more money for consumers and borrowers, right? So this is already I have discussed in the first slide itself. Now let us discuss the fourth chapter. So in this topic, we'll understand the TROPEX exercise, right? Now this was a question asked on Indian Ocean Naval Symposium kind of exercise. So questions on exercises are asked in the examination. What is the objective of the exercise? We'll understand. Now see, Indian Navies, this exercise is part of Indian Navy biannual, that is held once in 2 years, is underway in the Indian Ocean region. This exercise is being carried out in the Indian Ocean region. Now, what is the full form? The theatre level operational readiness exercise is the Indian Navy's most significant operational military exercise conducted by Navy. See, I'll explain you the objective of the exercise. What is exercise? The Indian Navy, they conduct drills in the Indian Ocean. Now, let's say for example, when there are international matches, when Virat Kohli is playing a match, he also practices. He also takes part in practice matches, right? So people participate in the practice matches before they play the real match. Similarly, when a real war takes place, you should be ready when a war takes place. And to be ready for a war-like situation or war, you need to prepare yourself. That's the reason such exercises are held by Navy, Air Force and Indian Army as well. The purpose of such exercise is to simulate war-like situation. In case war takes place, how would the you know the military equipments function? That's the reason such exercises are held. Now the Indian Navy, Army, Air Force, they have advanced technologies. For example, now let's say an operation has to be taken in the Indian Ocean. There has to be cooperation from Navy, Air Force as well as Army. So to ensure that there is coordination among the three forces, such exercises are held so that in case a war takes place, the practice has already been done, now the execution comes into play. That's the reason such exercises are held. I hope you understood the enhanced maritime domain awareness. Operational coordination between Army, Navy and Air Force. Duration from Jan to March. This will be held for 2 months. 65 Indian naval ships, 9 submarines and 80 aircraft will be a part of this exercise. Key platforms. Platforms, for example, INS Vikrant is a aircraft carrier, which means the fighter jets can be taken off and landed on a ship. This is referred to as aircraft carrier. INS Vikrant is an aircraft carrier. This is participating. Then we have the destroyers, Vishakhapatnam and Kolkata class. These are the ships, military ships. Then the submarines. Then we have these are the fighter jets. And then this is the helicopter. And then we have Army, Air Force. Who are the Coastal Guard? The Coastal Guard is a defense force that safeguards the maritime space up to 200 nautical miles. From the coastal places up to 200 nautical miles, it is the Indian Coast Guard that is defending the maritime space. Beyond 200 nautical miles, it is the Indian Navy. And importance, maritime security. We have threat from Pakistan, China, from the pirates. So to ensure maritime security, such drills, such exercises are very important. Then joint manship, to ensure this coordination between Army, Navy, Air Force. Then naval power, to show the supremacy of India's naval power. We have submarines, we have fighter jets, we have aircraft carrier, to show India as a dominant naval power so that our enemies can stay at a bay. Technology testing. So all the advanced technologies we are developing or importing to test the technology, such exercises are held. I hope you understood the essence of the TROPEX exercise. Now the last exercise, Dunki. Now see, what is the context? Now in order to find or get to better their lifestyles, the poor people who are not finding jobs in our country, they go to the developed countries like UK, America, France, Germany, Canada. Now, in order to go to these countries, you need to have proper papers, visa. Now, that country is not going to simply invite you or allow you to stay for more time. For tourism purpose, you can go stay there for 1 month, 2 months and come back. But if you want to stay there for a long time, you need to get the visa from that country. Now, those countries are simply not going to give you visas. So, what's happening is people are taking illegal routes to reach the developed countries. This is referred to as Dunki route. If you watch Shah Rukh Khan's Dunki movie, you'll understand how people take very, very difficult journeys to reach the developed countries. So they have no papers. Now, usually the Indians try to go to America, Canada, UK. This article explores or highlights the journey people are taking to reach America. So what they do is they start their journey from South America. Now countries in South America such as Ecuador, Bolivia and Guyana. These countries they offer visas. The visas are very, very liberal. So first people travel to these countries, then they get in touch with the dealers, the human traffickers. And these human traffickers, they take lots of money, lakhs and crores of money from these people to make these people reach America. Now the Darien gap is very, very important. Please mark this in your Atlas map. Question can be asked in examination. This Darien map. This is South America. So this Darien gap is used by people who want to reach America. America is above this. Now this is very, very dangerous gap. The people are subjected to exploitation, money is looted, they are beaten, the women are raped. This is how the situation is so horrible in this Darien gap. So please remember this location, mark in your atlas. Right, Mexico. Then finally they cross this Darien gap. Through Mexico they enter the American state. And then the human traffickers, the dealers, they take huge money, they take enormous, exorbitant money from the poor, helpless people. And as I told, financial cost 30, 50 lakh. This is the amount people pay to the dealers, agents to reach to the advanced country. Now, South America is not the only route. Dubai also serves as a transit point. So, India to Dubai, Dubai to South America, South America to America using illegal route. And now recently we know that around 100 people were deported back from America to India. Now try to understand the plight, difficulty of people. People are not finding jobs in our country. They are ready to risk everything. They are selling their properties, their wealth, lifetime saving, giving to the agents so that they can reach the developed country and make a life out of the better lifestyle opportunities in the developed countries. That's the reason it is very important for our country to take this issue seriously. Unfortunately, we are not taking this issue seriously. There's no discussion in the media. We have to take this issue very, very seriously. The government has to ensure that we are not pushing the people to the brink so that they are forced to flee our country and go to the developed country, contribute to their economy. I hope you understood the fifth article as well. It's time to discuss few practice questions now. The digital revolution has transformed multiple sectors in India, yet equitable access. There is digital education technology, but there is no equitable access. Critically examine the role of technology in education. You need to mention the challenges and way forward. Very simple question. I think we already have discussed this in the first topic. Now in the introduction, try to highlight the introduction of technology, digital technology in our country. Start from the 90s, 2000s, then the pandemic time and the current situation. Then in the body of the answer, highlight the potential, how we can harness technology in education. Then you highlight the challenges, and then finally we have discussed each and every point. So I just want you to please refer to the first video, understand the video completely. If not, please put questions in the comment box. If you understood the first topic, this question is very easy for you. You can first write down the answer, right? Or you can first read the answer and then write it down. It's completely up to you. Now let us discuss the questions from yesterday's DNA. Which of the following is not an impact of marine heat waves as described in the context of climate change? Not an impact of marine heat waves as described. Disruption of marine ecosystems leading to biodiversity imbalances. So this is an impact, right? Second, shifting habitat ranges and altering predator-prey relationship. Again, this is an impact. Then decrease in global sea surface. No, it is increase in global sea surface temperature. This is how it is impacted. So correct answer is option C. Next, Chabar port is located on the southwestern. No, it is located on the southeastern. So this statement is incorrect. So this statement gone, this gone, this gone. The correct answer is option B. Still you read the two statements. Very simple question. The next question. The flue gas desulfurization is a technology used to remove sulfur dioxide from exhaust gases of coal-fired power plants. And yes, this one is correct. The wet scrubbing process, which uses limestone slurry to neutralize the sulfur dioxide, is the most exactly. This is what we discussed in yesterday's DNA. The FGD technology completely eliminates. Now, the problem is it does not completely eliminate the sulfur emissions. To an extent, it does, but completely no. So, this one is incorrect. So, 1 and 2, option A is the correct answer for question number 4. And then these are the questions from today's DNA 1, 2 and 3. I request you to please attend the questions. Please open the link in the comment box. Open the DNA quiz on our website. Attempt the answers and post the score in the comment section. Let us see how much score you get for the 3 questions that we have given to you today. I hope you understood all the topics that we have covered as part of today's training. On this note, I call it a wrap. Before ending the video, I request you to please hit the like, subscribe and share icon. Thank you so much.